Hello, this is Dr. Webb, Colorado Tech University, CS872. It's come to my attention that several of you are having problems understanding how to upload this data file for this week's assignment into Access. So I'm going to walk you through the process. First, you'll click on your assignment where it says using this website. It will then bring you up to the from data.gov, this website for the consumer complaint database. The next task would be now to download this CSV file. Okay, it tells you a little bit about the file. The next thing you'll do is you'll then click download again. Now, once you do, then on the bottom of the screen, it should say open, save, or cancel. You'll just do save as. For this particular file, what we're going to do is I'm going to call it consumer complaints 10. And we'll save that. Okay. All right, now that it's saved that file, the next task would be to open that file using Microsoft Excel. Okay, then the next task would be to open up Microsoft Excel. Once you have opened up Excel, then go up to File and Open. And then we'll go to the file that we've just saved, which was a customer complaints 10. If you don't see it, make sure you have all files where you have selected that to show you all the files there. Take a few minutes. And there it is. Okay. And again, make sure again that was set as far as for your file open to show all files. Let me do that one more time for those who might not have understand what I'm saying. Let me close it for a second. Okay. Again, we're going to walk through that one last step one more time. You'll say File, Open, and what I was explaining is right here, all files. Okay, because you have various different types of files you can use. If you don't see the file you're looking for, make sure that's selected, all files. And then I'll come up here and I'll find Consumer Complaints 10. It should be listed, but in the event it's not, make sure that is selected. Opened. Okay. Note, if when you notice these, don't get alarmed. We see these hashtags. The only thing that it's telling you is that it's you need just the width is too small to display all the data. You can kind of just look through all the data here to make sure everything looks right. And on this import, it imported it well, and everything looks right. You know, numeric fields and text fields and date fields, everything looks correct. The next task then would be to save this file as an Excel spreadsheet, save as, and we call it Consumer Complaint 10, but instead of a CSV comma delimited, this time now save it as an Excel workbook. And again, it takes a few minutes for that to save. And it's now completed. The next task then would be to open up Microsoft Access. Okay, I now have Microsoft Access opened. And from here, what we want to do is we want to import the data. So just open up a normal database, blank database, and external data. On this side is everything, all the import functions, and on this side is all the export functions. We're going to import an Excel spreadsheet. It asks for the location. And in my case, it was on my C in my temp folder, and it was consumer complaints 10. Okay, and it's an Excel spreadsheet. And I would say just leave it to the default option of importing the source data into the new table. Okay. The next thing it wants to confirm is that the very first row contains column headings, and it does. So just next. Then they also just wanted to confirm that as far as the data type for the complaint ID field, if that is okay for us to make it of type double, sure, that's fine. Next. Then it's asking if they can if Access can create a primary key. It doesn't matter because we're not even going to use primary keys for this exercise. So you say next. Now consumer complaints 10 is now being completed, and you press finished. Takes just a few seconds for that to complete. Now the next task would be for us to kind of make sure that everybody's a little familiar, to regain familiarity with how to use Microsoft Access. Okay. Okay. Once that's finished, you should then see this following screen. They're asking if you want to save the import steps. It's not necessary. This is only if you wanted to make this a repetitive process of converting these things. And it would just say click it for close. All right. Now, to open up the consumer complaint table, you just double click on the table to the left. And now you can see the whole table, everything's in there. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of walk you through how to do one of the queries as far as for your assignment. First, click over to Home. From Home, you'll see there's various types of views as far as how you can you look at your data. Okay, the most common view for us that we'll probably be using would be the datasheet view, and that's the view you're currently looking at. The next task is you wanted to create one of the queries. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'll help you as far as with one of the three queries you need to do. I think the most complex one would be the third one, where it says summarize the responses for each company. In other words, what they wanted you to do is you'll notice on your screen, as far as the different responses from the company, let's see. Okay, the field right here is the company response. And then as far as the company response is, like, for instance, if it's in progress, if it's closed, or closed with an explanation, what the task for this is to summarize these responses for each company. For example, it says there's 32 of them that are in progress, 67 that are closed, 22 that are closed with an explanation, but you want to do it based on the company. So all of the ones for you want to see all of the company responses for Bayview Loan Servicing. Okay, you see it's scattered throughout here. You want to see all of their responses categorized together based on the number of each type. Okay, let me walk you through exactly how you're going to do that particular query. Okay, now to walk through there, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create. Go to Query Design. Now the first task would be, is asking us to identify which tables we want to use for these queries. We're only going to use the one table, which is the Consumer Complaint 10. So it's already highlighted, click Add, and you can see it appears up here. And we're done. That's the only table we're going to be using. The first field, and we're moving from left to right as far as how to aggregate through the response. The first field, which you'll need, is going to be the company. Whatever company it is. And again, it's coming from our table that the table we have identified. Now, the next thing we wanted to, from each one of those companies, we want to group it by those companies, right? So watch this. Right here where it says sort, what I need you to do is on your mouse key, you're going to right-click the mouse. It opens up and you have some other options. Select totals, and there we're going to group it by, and then ascending. So therefore, now we're actually telling it to do is to group it by these companies, the company complaints. Group it by company. Okay, in the next field, what we're actually grouping is the actual company's response. So you highlight the company response, and again, that too is going to be grouped by in ascending order. Okay, the response is going to be grouped. And then within there, we want it to count those actual responses. So in the next field, we're going to say count. We want to count the company response. The company response. Now, and instead of group by, this time we want it to actually do the count. We want to count it. So you select count. Okay? And that's all there is to this one, because see now once we've built this query, then the next task would be then we select run. It runs, and now it has. Now let's look at exactly what it actually did for us. Let's open these columns up a little more so you can actually really see the full thing here. Okay, so for the first, which was former Shapiro, the name of that company, untimely responses, there was only one. Now, and we're going by alphabetical order. For the first Alliance lending company, how many of them the company's response is closed? There was only one. For that same company, how many of them were closed explanation? There was 8. For the next company, First Fidelity loan servicing, as far as the company response is being closed with the explanation, there was 1. So on and so forth. And as you can look through here, for instance, like look at right here where it says the 21st Mortgage Company closed explanation, there were 91. So you see what it's done is it's gone through there and it's calculated for us based on each company, its responses, and how many times it saw that response. Okay, so now the next thing you'd like to see is let's look at what that actually, because again, we built this as far as using a query, a wizard. If you want to see what the actual SQL for that is, just now go back up to File, Views, SQL View. From the SQL view, this is what you're going to be sending back to me, which is the SQL text. Select from this table the Consumer Complaints 10. That's the table. The field is company. Again, same table with the field company response. Then count consumer complaints of the response. So you're counting the responses as a count of the response from the table grouped by, and that's why we're grouping it, ordered by, and that's how we're ordering it. So there's the SQL for that. Okay? So we'll go back again to the datasheet view, and you can see the response, or see our updates. Okay, now again, as a reminder, now the actual product you're going to be doing is you're going to be saving this file. You file save. You save this application, your response, as a database application document, and you're gonna have to zip it. More than likely, because I don't think you can upload it in its native form. So you'll have to zip it, and after you zip it, then you send it to me, and then in that way I can actually see. It'll list your queries as well. The queries will appear over here as well. Okay. So that's what we're looking for this assignment. All right, thanks.